Bakugo's hero name is Dynamite. We'll get more into it because we got a whole bunch of spoilers for this chapter to go over, so let's do it. Okay, so the title of the chapter is Hero Saturated Society. The chapter started with Mirio's flashback. He got information from Bubble Girl that there will be a national scale villain sweeping operation. He wanted to participate, so he asked Eri to come. All this time, Eri was practicing with insects or lizards. So this is establishing what most of us suspected, or at least I did, and it's that Eri is the reason why Mirio has his quirk back. But I like that it's showing that she was practicing this beforehand. It wasn't just like, oh, I instantly did it and now you're back, Mirio. But this was also established beforehand. We saw like Aizawa working with her because they wanted this to happen. Her quirk is incredible. It's one of the best abilities in the entire series, not only just on the power scale, but just for a utility purpose, as we're seeing here. So it's kind of important and valuable to get her to be able to do this. Mirio bowed his head and apologized to Eri because he wants to use her power. Eri grabbed his face with a smile, saying that Mirio doesn't have to apologize and that she's been practicing for this. So it totally makes sense that Eri, wants to help Mirio as, he helped her with the whole overhaul stuff. These characters are, very close. It's kind of like a big brother, little sister relationship. And like I said, Aizawa kind of mentoring her in order to be able to get to this point. And a lot of it was for Mirio because, he lost his quirk and it kind of sucks. Mirio is, obviously an extremely valuable asset to the heroes. Go back to Aizawa saying that, he could have potentially been the #1 pro hero. Back to the war zone, Mirio was having inner dialogue, saying that he's not someone that could finish Nomu in one punch. So in the next scene, he screams for help. At that time, there's a little light in the sky, which was Bakugo. He was attacking the Nomus with explosion to back up Mirio and Best Jeanist. Ida was mad, saying that Bakugo should stop moving or he'll die, but no response. Nedry was seen to be fine. So yeah, I'm kind of there with Ida. Not so much concerned for Bakugo, but like questioning like, okay, so you got stabbed through the solar plexus with the forcible quirk activation spikes and you were seemingly down and out a couple chapters ago, but now you're good to go, launching explosions, backing everyone up. It's fine, but man, really pushing the envelope here with Bakugo. I guess we can chalk it up to the reemergence of Mirio and Best Jeanist. More so the latter, like hyping up, reamping Bakugo, giving him his third wind, I suppose. And then it says Nedry is shown to be fine. In the previous chapter, she was hit by, I guess, Dabi's like backwards flame cannon thing that he did, which it looked like it really messed her up, but confirming that she's okay, and we see that she is. So all of you Nedry heads out there, there you go. Best Jeanist asks him, have you seen the world, Bakugo? And Bakugo was grinning and told Best Jeanist that Bakugo was only temporary name and I've been waiting to tell you. And then he revealed his hero name, Daibaku Satsushin, which is the god of the great killing bomb. And then Dynamito, which is dynamite. So apparently on Twitter, this disappointed a lot of people because they wanted his name to be Ground Zero. So where does Ground Zero come from? So like Horikoshi kind of alluded that it could have possibly have been Bakugo's hero name. I think it was even before My Hero came out. But also it kind of made sense because, Bakugo is very self-critical of himself and feels that he's responsible for All Might, losing all of his power, having to go against All for One because he was saving Bakugo. And that battle site in Kamino could be considered Ground Zero, where the All Might statue is. So like, Bakugo, he himself is Ground Zero. So I think Dynamite is fine, especially the way that it's spelled here. So there's no official confirmation on the English spelling yet. We'll get that Sunday, I suppose. But in Japanese, it's phonetically Dynamito. So it makes sense that it's going to be spelt like M-I-G-H-T, like All Might. Bakugo is inspired by All Might very heavily, so it makes sense, Dynamite. I think it's fine. doesn't really bother me. Ground Zero probably would have been better, but I don't think, you know, Dynamite's like egregious or anything. And then God of the Great Killing Bomb, that's just kind of like a gaggy tag along. I don't think they're gonna call him that. I'm pretty sure his name is just gonna be Dynamite, or at least people are just gonna refer to him as Dynamite. Best Jeanist, Ida, Nejiri, Mr. Compress, and Spinner each were shown to give a reaction differently, but the point is they all thought it's ugly or too long. Only Mirio liked it because there's humor to it, but Bakugo answered with, but there's not a single particle of humor to it? So I guess Mirio thought that the whole God of the Great Killing Bomb was funny because it is kind of funny. But as for the others reacting to it and saying that it's kind of cringe or whatever, it's also understandable because that's kind of like the reaction that Twitter, for the most part, gave it. Gigantomachia was shown to still be tied by Best Jeanist, and the scene moved to Shoto and Dabi, where Dabi was hugging Shoto in an attempt to kill him. So Dabi like hugging Shoto like this, he's trying to like, I guess, do some form of the prominence burn or something like that. He's trying to like nuke Shoto while he's like also nuking himself. And Dabi says that it looks like they, Mirio, etc., are having fun while Shoto is right here suffering. But Shoto answers with, but you're also burning. And Dabi was saying that Shoto is so kind for worrying, but he doesn't need to worry because he was happy seeing Endeavor's face in horror. This is just further establishing that Dabi is as unhinged as you can get, so far from Toya that he's, you know, no longer that person anymore. He's just completely psychopathic and only wants suffering for Endeavor and revenge for him and whatnot, to the point of where like he'll nuke himself, you know, nuking Shoto in the process, just as long as Endeavor sees it and is like horrified by it. Deku was shown to shift his focus to Shoto because Jeanist has enough support. He used Black Whip out of his mouth like Froppy and tried to shave Shoto. I mean, we've seen it's a recurring theme that like Izuku takes little moves or strategies or stuff like that from, you know, classmates or other people he's inspired by. But I didn't think that he'd be using like the tongue thing from Tsuyu, which is pretty cool. And I guess, you know, the Black Whips, it just works that way. He's, you know, come so far with it that he doesn't need his hands as conduits anymore. He could just do it from anywhere. Dabi told him not to interfere in Dabi tells him not to interfere in people's family business, but Deku says he'd interfere because Shoto is his precious friend and Endeavor is a mentor that made him strong. Dabi continued with another monologue. At the same time, Gigantomachia was breaking free from Best Jeanist. When everyone started to panic, suddenly Gigantomachia fell down, most likely because of Yaoyorozu's tranquilizer worked. End of chapter. I mean, I knew that something was going to happen with that storyline, but for it to just kick in, for him to pass out now is pretty interesting, and it's making me think that like, man, are the villains going to lose here? And is this going to be the end of this? I mean, I don't want to say it's all over, but something has to happen here. I don't think this is going to be completely the end. Because remember, we still have Toga out there. She's on her way back. And I'm thinking that she's going to do something significant when she returns that's going to push things in the favor of the villains. But let me know what you think about this chapter in the comments. If you liked the video, guys, please give it a like. Also, please subscribe. Have a Twitch, Patreon. Have a great day. See you next one.